This is ABC 7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. Topping our news tonight, we have a major weather alert, and we're going to go right out to Bob Harrigan with the details. Bob.
It just came across right now from the National Weather Service, Alan. A tornado warning now in effect for a cell that's in East Manatee County. We were watching the cell earlier throughout the newscast, and now it has a signature of a tornado. We're going to go to the maps right now and show you what's been going on with that particular cell. Again, a tornado warning is in effect for Manatee County, and that's going to be in effect for at least the next 15 minutes. A lot of times these things fade fairly quickly, but again, it's near Duet. It includes Manatee County, eastern Manatee County, and it looks like it's moving off very slowly now toward the northwest and northwest to west at 10 miles an hour. And there could be a possible tornado right there with this cell. You can see the large area of showers and storms now in progress in East Manatee County. And the area of concern is this area right here. And we'll actually zoom into it and show you. There's Duet right there. And that's where the tornado warning is at this point. So again, a tornado warning in effect for Manatee County for at least the next, looks like half hour at this point for the National Weather Service. And as far as the area concerned, the area in red is where the tornado warning is in effect. 4 at this point. Again, a tornado warning, Doppler indicated tornado for East Manatee County in effect now. And as far as the National Weather Service is concerned, they are reporting some hail up to 3/4 inch now with this cell, and a tornado which was located near Duet moving to the west at 10 miles an hour. And that tornado warning will be in effect again until 7:15 at this point. Looks like it's in effect until 7:15 for this evening with that tornado. Now, as far as the storm tracker goes, we are watching this cell move very slowly off toward the north. And in terms of shear, you can see some shear products around. The strongest shear is to the north at 50 miles an hour right there. And again, gate-to-gate shear just to the northwest of Duet at 43 miles an hour. And this tornado appears to be, as I said, drifting to the north very slowly. Doppler indicated tornado from the National Weather Service is indicating that we do now have a tornado warning in effect until 7:15 for this particular area. I'll take the lightning out of here so we can see that a little bit clearer. The area in red and blue, or I should say green, is what we're looking at right now. The difference in that indicates the rotation and spin, with the red right there being just to the northwest of Duet. And it looks like, again, this tornado warning is going to stay with us through the next at least 12 minutes, Alan. At this point, the tornado warning means take shelter immediately if you are in this particular zone where the warning is located. And you can see that quite clearly in eastern Manatee County around State Road 64. This will, again, more than likely dissipate here in the next 10-15 minutes, but we'll have to watch it closely as it makes its way off into the north now. Actually, it's moving to the northwest now. It looks like more so than west. And the National Weather Service indicating that the cell appears to be right here, moving off to the northwest at 10 miles an hour. So all this area right here, you should be seeking shelter. A tornado warning is in effect for your particular area until 7:15. Doppler indicated tornado on the ground, or at least near the ground, with some rotation. As you see, quite a few lightning strikes as well. So heavy rainfall. The rainfall rate with this particular cell is up to 3 inches an hour. And this cell just kind of popped up along the east coast sea breeze as it's making its way off toward the west. We'll keep you up to date with this again throughout the evening. If any more severe weather warnings were to break out right now, there have been no reported damages at this point. Alan, it's just been issued at 6:59. It's in effect for at least the next 10 minutes, and then it should expire. Again, a lot of times these do go back up to the clouds rather quickly, so we'll keep an eye out for you, update you during the newscast as well. Back to you, Alan.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And we are following developments in Michigan now, where 3 people are dead after a gunman opened fire inside a courthouse. It happened in the city of St. Joseph. Sheriffs say an inmate disarmed an officer and used it to kill 2 bailiffs before being shot and killed by police. One employee says it happened near a 3rd-floor courtroom. A deputy and a civilian were also shot and are now in the hospital. The shooter has not been identified. We'll have more on this story coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. Now to Dallas, where we're learning Thursday's deadly ambush shooting could have been even worse. Investigators say Mike 7 others was planning a larger attack. Bomb-making materials were found inside Johnson's home, along with a detailed plan and a journal. We're also hearing from the surgeons who treated the patients in the wake of Thursday's shooting.
I recognize that no matter what I'm going through right now, compared to the families of the officers and the victims that were killed this last week, it's nothing.
Dallas police will hold a candlelight vigil tonight to honor their fallen officers. Here on the Suncoast, the community is showing its support for local law enforcement. In Palmetto, police received handwritten notes of gratitude, and Sarasota County Sheriff's Office has been flooded with emails and Facebook postings expressing thanks. Some restaurants are even dropping off meals for officers. Some officers say even a simple handshake is more important than many people realize.
It really is uplifting for our officers. It makes us feel appreciated, and I think the officers need to hear that. And I ask our community to continue to show that support to police, because we're here for you, to keep you safe.
We need to know that the community is with us, and I can tell you I've had a lot of circumstances just, not only in the last few days, but in the last few weeks where people have just kind of grabbed me and said, you guys are appreciated, just know that. And that just gives me chills.
Tomorrow at 6 o'clock, West Florida Law Enforcement Wives is gathering at the Sarasota County Courthouse to take a photo showing support for officers in Dallas. Sarasota's branch of the NAACP will be holding a community conversation with law enforcement this Wednesday. Sarasota Police Chief Bernadette DePino, along with members of her command staff and several officers, will be there. The meeting is a response to the recent violence between community and law enforcement across the nation. It will be held at the Bethel CME Church from 6:30 to 8:30 in the evening. 2 Florida Republicans are leading an effort to classify attacks on police and firefighters as hate crimes. The Blue Lives Matter proposal was made on Friday, the day after 5 law enforcement officers were fatally shot in Dallas. Florida's Police Benevolent Association says the legislation was necessary even before last week's attack.
This would just be another protection. I hope it would be a deterrent for someone that's bent on doing ill towards first responders. But a lot of times, no matter what you do, that's not going to be enough to deter certain people.
Similar proposals were filed during this year's legislative session, but failed to reach the House or Senate floors. Republicans say they'll make the push once again next year. The Venice Police Department continues to have one of the highest turnover rates for officers in our area, but the problem could soon be resolved. City officials say low salaries are behind the loss of at least 14 officers. Other agencies are likely to pay more, and it's leaving the Venice PD short-staffed. Now the police chief is asking the city council for an additional $163,000 in next year's budget to help retain officers.
There's a lot of time and money spent in hiring officers and building their careers, and then for them to leave and go to another agency isn't the best financially, fiscally responsible way of operating the police department.
Budget conversations continue tomorrow. The city will also need to negotiate with the police union before salaries can be increased. The Pokemon Go app has only been out for a couple of days, but it is already creating public safety concerns. Sarasota police are warning the game is distracting people while driving. Officers say the offense would be treated as the same as a texting behind the wheel offense. In Florida, it is a secondary offense, meaning you have to be pulled over for another reason before you could be fined.
If you're sitting there trying to throw Pokemon balls at different characters while you're going 40 miles an hour down the road, you're not paying attention to the road. And so we want to encourage folks, go ahead and stop and park and then play the game. Don't do it while you're driving, because you're not only endangering yourself, but you're endangering others around you.
Police say even when you're not in the vehicle, you should still be mindful of your surroundings when playing the game. Congressman Vern Buchanan's bill to battle heroin and opioid addiction is moving forward. The House passed the bill and the Senate version is waiting for a vote. The legislation's grant programs for abuse and prevention treatment services with special provisions for veterans, mothers, and children. Pinellas Congressman David Jolly is endorsed former Florida Governor Jeb Bush in his run for the Republican presidential nomination. Now Bush is repaying the favor. In the news release today, Jolly's campaign staff says Bush is throwing his full support behind Congressman Jolly's effort. Jolly faces retired Marine Mark Berger in the August 30th primary. The winner of the contest will face former Governor Charlie Crist, who is running as a Democrat. And still to come, a judge ruled Sarasota City Commissioner Susan Chapman did not violate the Sunshine Law, but with an appeal on the way, the years-long battle may not be over. We'll have details when we come back.
Need new windows? Buy direct from the factory. New South Window is having a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Buy 4 windows, save 25%. Buy 6 windows, save 30%. Buy 8 or more windows and save 35%. How? Because New South owns the factory and you cut out the middleman. Award-winning, energy-efficient windows and doors installed with a lifetime warranty. New South Windows are made in Florida for Florida homes by Florida workers. Visit newsouthwindow.com or call now.
Attention, this is an important message for anyone who had an IVC filter placed to prevent blood clots from traveling to their heart or lungs. Did your IVC filter move, break, or cause organ damage? The FDA warns that IVC filters may cause serious complications, such as heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, even death. If you or a loved one suffered serious complications, call IVC Filter Helpline now. You may be entitled to compensation. IVC filters are designed to prevent blood clots. If your IVC filter moved or broke and you suffered heart or lung damage, internal bleeding, or if a loved one died as a result, call IVC Filter Helpline today. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. You'll pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. Call today for a free confidential consultation. Don't fight this alone. Call IVC Filter Helpline now.
Please call 800-897-6764. That is 800-897-6764.
The all-new official Suncoast forecast, only on ABC 7.
The ruling is in for Commissioner Susan Chapman. The judge says she did not violate the Sunshine Law. More on the ruling, the appeal, and the legal fees from ABC 7's Dwayne Lindo.
When City Commissioner Susan Chapman heard the judgment on her trial that took place a couple months ago, she only had one word:
relief.
Commissioner Chapman cleared of any wrongdoing. The judge said Citizens for Sunshine had not proven a violation of the Sunshine Law.
I was listening to my constituents. I didn't go out to pick this fight. They picked it against me.
But many Sarasota taxpayers, like Martin Hyde, took issue with Chapman defending the lawsuit, footing the bill for Chapman's legal fees totaling more than $340,000.
At the end of the day, it's still $350,000. Citizens for Sunshine, as far as I know, is a shell corporation without any assets. So that $350,000 is never coming back.
Chapman chose to fight it.
When they are sued for something in their official duties, which I was only at that meeting in my official duties of listening to the citizens, that they are entitled to representation at the cost of the city and not at their personal cost.
But Hyde thinks differently.
It's as much as some people make in half a lifetime. And to use it up on something as vague as this when we have so many other issues doesn't make any sense to me.
And for Sarasota taxpayers like Hyde, it may get worse. The group, Citizens for Sunshine, plans to appeal. Michael Barfield making a statement saying, "We note that the judge made factual findings that are inconsistent with the ultimate conclusion. We respectfully disagree with the ruling, and the board has authorized an appeal that both Chapman and Hyde are expecting."
And I'm pretty sure that if CFS don't go after it, then someone at the state level will.
Dwayne Lindo, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Citizens for Sunshine plans to appeal the ruling. So how far can this go and what happens to those legal fees? We'll discuss it with our roundtable in just a moment.
On your TV, on your computer, on your camera, on your smartphone, on your Apple Watch. And now you can get ABC 7, your Suncoast News on Fire TV. Just go to mysuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab for a list of fast and free downloads that deliver ABC 7, your Suncoast News, on the go.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
You know what scares me? No electricity. Yeah, when this magical box suddenly stops working, I call the pros at Mr. Sparky and they send a superhero to save the day. How's it going, Pablo?
It's going great, Mike.
Pablo possesses amazing skill. He can perform incredible feats at blinding speed. Superhero.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Modest, too.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Just to be clear, I don't live here.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. We promise we're more than a dealership. We're a destination with a movie theater, massage room, aquarium, cafe, and more. We promise to give you top dollar for your trade, even if you don't buy from us. And if you do, we promise you the best deal. Bring us any competitor's ad and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
And joining us for more on tonight's topic is Sarasota Attorney John Torraco and Zach Murdoch, the local government reporter for the Herald Tribune. And I want to thank you all for being here because this is really a fascinating story. It's gone on for so long. It's cost so much money. There are big principles involved, and it has resulted in so much derision in the city. But John, let me ask you this because you disagree with this verdict, do you not?
Yeah, I mean, I disagree with the opinion of the court, I mean, respectfully, but I think that this is set up very nicely for an appeal.
Why?
Because the court found that all the elements were met, but that it was just simply a gathering versus a meeting. And I believe that there's some law that says that that differentiation doesn't really matter.
You mentioned the state Supreme Court, but wouldn't this be something that Judge Eiton was aware of?
He may have been. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, that's why we have courts of appeal. So, you know, but the elements were clearly met. Deliberation is not required. So he obviously made the decision, and you know the way he did, and I respect it. But though obviously I think that they said that they're going to appeal. So I think that this is in a very good position for an appeal.
Zach, what kind of impact has this case had on city government?
Well, I think there is some, you know, you mentioned it caused some derision. I think there is some of that, and you get a lot of folks who are ardent supporters of Commissioner Chapman who really disagree with the folks who kind of fault her for taking this as far as the case has gone. You know, I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's divided the commission by any means, but I think, you know, each of the commissioners have their own opinion about exactly how far the case.
Well, you know, as we talked about, there's so many different issues here. There's the Sunshine Law issue, which we've talked about numerous times on this broadcast, but there's also the cost of litigating it, which is the same but different as an issue. And you saw Martin Hyde talking about the sheer amount of money. And some people oppose Commissioner Chapman just because this is money that the taxpayers should not have had to spend. So has this impacted the behavior of commissioners outside the chambers in terms of where they go and who they talk to?
You know, I don't think so. I think the city, in a way, has really just been a lot more careful about how they approach those meetings. You know, the city clerk testified during the trial at the time that after this issue came up, and maybe even a little before it, depending on the timing, they actually do put out meeting notices for these types of things, just saying that more than one commissioner may attend, you know, the neighborhood association meeting or a chamber of commerce meeting, things like that. And so the city itself just treads a little more carefully, though the commissioners are still out and about all the time. But, you know, I imagine they do think about it a little bit.
Well, let me put this question to both of you, because as I have remarked from time to time, because I've worked all over Florida, this doesn't seem to be much of an issue in places like Tampa, or Miami, where you see one or more commissioners at different events, whether they are social or community oriented. And it's been pointed out to me the reason why it's litigated here in Sarasota is because you have Mr. Barfield and people concerned about it who live right here. So I know just because it's not litigated in other communities doesn't make it right in other communities, but it seems that local public officials are more under the microscope than right up the road in Tampa.
That may very well be true, but also Mr. Barfield and Attorney Mogensen have also sued the governor. So they've actually gone outside of the community as well, and they were successful and they settled. Remember, this matter could have been settled for $500 with no admission of guilt. Now they're at $340,000. Now we're entering an appeal. You're talking several hundred more thousands of dollars. If they don't prevail, then they owe attorney's fees to Attorney Mogensen. So you could be talking upwards of almost $1 million.
Now, it's important to note that since this case started, the city has bought insurance so that if there's a future lawsuit like this or others, commissioners, the bill would be covered. But Zach, with the price of this continuing to skyrocket, how does the city pay this? Is there any discussion about how to mitigate the legal bills here?
I mean, at this point, no is the short answer. I mean, so long as the case goes on, the city is in the position they're in defending Commissioner Chapman because, as she talks about, this was in her official course of duty. It wouldn't be until a final ruling is made up through the appellate courts that we'd really have a good feel of exactly how that's going to work out. And honestly, at that point, it becomes another fight between Citizens for Sunshine and Mr. Schultz.
And you said earlier that this has not affected the work of the commission, but as we said from the outset, this caused so much derision inside the city with two camps here. How in the world are people getting along and getting the people's business done and listening to what the community says on the whole variety of issues?
Well, in a lot of ways, we talked a little bit earlier about this. The important context of this case is also that it comes from a really tumultuous argument about Dr. Marbitt's initial homelessness study. And so in a lot of ways, you're seeing that old fight continue to drag out through this case. And frankly, those are issues that they're still grappling with on the commission. And the case just kind of exemplifies those types of arguments that they still have.
Almost a paralysis in Sarasota, because if you walk downtown, nothing much has changed. There is more homeless people sitting on the streets and walking the streets than many communities in Florida.
And the irony is that it's over. A lot of it has to do with money.
Well, then you make the case that the money that has been spent on this case could have been better spent in terms of finding some kind of solution, whether it's a shelter or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm a supporter of Commissioner Chapman. I supported her when she ran. I support her today. I think she's great on policy. It just so happens that it's a different story when this is your own issue and you're paying for it yourself versus the taxpayers. And I just think that while she may not agree with it, maybe that $500 price tag was a lot more appealing than what we're looking at right now as taxpayers.
Is there any effort or indication that both sides here are trying to find some way out of this to end this and just end this case and the legal bill with it?
Absolutely not. No, I don't. Honestly, last week's ruling may have been a surprise in some way, and that some people thought it would have gone in favor of Citizens for Sunshine, but in the end it was going to go to an appeal either direction. So I don't think anyone is surprised that it goes on, and I don't see any settlement in the works for any of this.
Okay. And as far as you know, has there been any kind of precedence for this in terms of other cases that even though there may be some direction by the state Supreme Court, that you have a lower court that seems to take a different road?
Sure. These cases are appealed regularly. And they actually get special treatment because from the courts of appeals. So there isn't anything directly on point here. There are some old cases from 1969, but I think that most of those, and there's actually a case from 1950, I think that those are going to prove very illustrative of what happened here. And that really, whether or not there's more litigation here on these sunshine matters or not, all public officials throughout the state need to keep things in the sunshine.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there, gentlemen. Thank you both for joining us tonight, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you.
Just because someone grows older, does that mean they have to grow apart from their friends or from the things they love to do? With Right at Home, it doesn't. Right at Home's professional team thoughtfully selects caregivers to help with personal care, housekeeping, meals, and most of all, staying engaged in life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you ready to go?
Oh, I sure am.
We can provide the right care right at home.
Is your mop a dirty, disgusting mess? You need the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System, the only mop and bucket that spins the dirt away. A system that cleans practically anything and everything with super absorbent microfiber. Dip it in the washer side and the mess releases into the bucket. Then place it in the dryer side and push on the pedal. You get a clean mop pad that's practically dry and ready for more. And your hands will never again touch a dirty, disgusting mop. The heads are washable and reusable. Get the Hurricane 360 Spin Mop System for just 2 payments of $19.99. You'll also get a Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. You can take advantage of our 2-for-1 Pick It Up special and get a second spin mop set. Just pay additional shipping and fee. And we'll upgrade you to free priority handling. So don't wait. Order now.
Call 1-800-394-1524 to get your Hurricane Spin Mop double offer. So hurry and call 1-800-394-1524. Call now.
If you haven't heard, Pokemon is making a comeback, and now a phone app version of the game is causing worries for law enforcement. Sarasota police are warning people to keep their eyes on the road and be mindful of their surroundings when playing the game. It seems like common sense, but police want to make it clear anyway. And here's what you have to say. Eric Spires writes, my girlfriend, my roommate, and I all went out this weekend to see what we could catch, a good haul, and more importantly, got out and some exercise. Susan Roselle writes, there have been people in my yard during the day looking in my windows while my handicapped, frightened mother was inside. Someone is going to get killed with this stupid, dangerous game. And Sue Tumisk writes, it is the first time in years I've seen teenagers running around outside like we did when we were kids. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/news at 7. And that is all the time we have for this evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Alan Cohn. Have a good night.